everybody. This is Becky Liggero. I am here in Oxford at the Global CIO Institute with the CIO of nChain, Christine Leong. Hello, hello, welcome. So I know that you were here today to deliver a keynote speech. You talked all about Web3. You talked about digital identity, digital assets, trust, and how all of this feeds back into the Web3 ecosystem. Can you elaborate on that point for me?
In terms of Web3, people often talk about the subject, but don't think about what actually needs to make it happen. And digital assets, digital identity, for us are the key components that enable the future of Web3. And to build that trust in order to trade digitally, you need to verify who you say you are. Also, in the future of gaming, in the future of activities that are purely digital, you need the privacy, you need trust. And it's only by having better identity and better systems around that, enabled by emerging technologies to protect our future and our privacy, and to make sure that we take back control of our own data, so it's not monetized by everybody else. And that's why I think digital identity and digital assets together form the underpinnings of Web3.
That's brilliant. I know a big focus of nChain's is digital identity right now. And so you've already talked about it a bit, but could you just break down your definition of digital identity for those out there that are like, what even is that?
Well, think of your passport, your ID card, but all of the different aspects of your identity, right? I'm an alum of Oxford University. I don't know how many times the administration here has been called, did she really study here? Well, my degree hasn't changed for the last 20 years. It's not going to change again. So that aspects of your identity, my education, my employment at nChain, where I worked before, all of those verification processes, all the different parts of the credentials that make you you, your healthcare data, all of that makes you you. And which bit of data do you share at which given point, and how do you control that in a digital format? Not just an electronic version of your passport or your ID card, but in a pure digital native contract, so that when an organization asks you, are you really who you say you are, via your digital means, you can say yes or no and verify it with cryptographic proofs, rather than sending over, this is my name, address, date of birth, and my address. Really, it's none of their business.
Yeah, I totally hear you on this. It would make things so much easier. And here at this conference, we have CIOs, we have government here from UK, a lot of exciting people. You mentioned that the gaming industry has so much to do with Web3 and a lot to gain from it. But talk to me about governments. You've already mentioned passports and things like this. What are the main things that CIOs, governments, this sort of thing can gain from working with a company like nChain and adopting Web3 tech?
I think, as always, consumer organizations pick up technology a lot quicker. But governments have a responsibility to build the legal framework around it, the trust frameworks around all of these technology to enable us to use it safely, and in a way that also guide all the commercial companies to work together. And I think large organizations, governments can do well with working with us to understand how do they work better together, what are the things that are needed. It's not just the tech, it's also understanding the processes that needs to be built, the use cases, because something like identity, for example, is a public good. Organizations need to work with one another, and sometimes only governments can facilitate that.
Very good. Very good. And so tell me why you decided to come here and deliver a keynote speech, and why is this crowd a really good one to listen to what nChain has to offer?
I think for me on a personal level, because I used to study here, I'm a PPE graduate of Oxford University. So for me, it has a personal note that I'm today as a CIO of nChain. So it's a pleasure for me to be here as part of the CIO Institute. And also that aspects of knowing that there are like-minded people, different organizations, and very often the events that I attend may be very specific for financial services, for other, and it's interesting that it's in the academic institutions, and to also get the commercial aspects of this to talk to a slightly different crowd.
Yeah, and I loved the questions at the end of your keynote. They were very thoughtful.
Yes, they were indeed, yeah. They were good questions, and understanding the different governments, different attitudes of thinking from governments to governments, what are needed in order to develop into the Web3 world.
Amazing. Well, Christine, it was so good to see you here. Hope to see you at more of these events presenting. You did an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you. Good to see you.
So, Valentine, let's start off by having you describe to our viewers what your role is at nChain.
So I work as a head of commercial and strategy. So I'm part of the business development and commercial team, and I cover all the strategy partnerships. So we work with different consultancy firms, system integrators, technical partners, and I cover all these parts.
Amazing. I love that. And this morning we had a keynote speech here from Christine. She was talking about Web3, digital identity. So tell me how you were taking these concepts and educating folks here at this conference about them.
Well, the profile of the attending persons is quite technical. So usually people would know about blockchain integration and blockchain infrastructures. They would approach us for a lot of different services about notarization of data integrity, digital product passports, and digital identity. We found it quite interesting to cover those topics with them. The level of education and knowledge is good foundation and ground to start having this infrastructure conversation.
I love that you're here educating these CIOs and these other C-levels on all of this. It's really important. And can you give us maybe a practical example of a way which the technology you're talking about at nChain can help some of the CIOs that are here at this conference? Maybe an example of a company or a product or something that you can help.
Well, we had very different type of people coming with a very different title, but one that was really interesting for very different reason was the CIO Business School, Oxford University. We discussed about, of course, digitizing and notarize diploma and graduate on blockchain for verification, background checks, and traceability, as always as a sustainability in keeping all your certificates with you. But we also mentioned how to monetize content. So you have courses that would be online and that could be accessible for people to use, watch having a certificate, but also transfer after as an NFT. So this content could be transferables. And also we were discussing on how using blockchain to give access to education for population that are refrained from getting education. So we were thinking about women in Afghanistan, how we could use a blockchain or decentralized networks to give access to content or educational contents with them. So those are typically the topics that we love to cover at nChain, and we like to make a real difference, and that was an exciting project.
Amazing, that's so cool. Hi, well, thank you so much, Valentine. It's great to see you here, and enjoy the rest of your meetings.
Thank you.
And thank you guys so much for watching. It's Becky Liggero for CoinGeek.com.
Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin wallet, blockchain, stablecoins, MetaNet, the evolution of money. Everybody is talking about Bitcoin today, but what exactly is it? Learn the basics from experts. Learn what Bitcoin is, how it works, and why it matters. Blockchain 101, your ultimate guide to the fundamentals of blockchain.